Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Medi, and I'd like to welcome you to Management 2530, Management of Organizational Behavior. This recording has been set up to review the syllabus with you, so if you have either an electronic or paper copy, you can follow along with me. What I want to do is just let you know the weeks start every week online. They are set up so that they are from the beginning of the semester to the end. So we go through the full 15 weeks. I have my cell phone and information to send me an email if you need to do so. As far as the description, we're really focusing on the organization as a whole and the things that affect it. You could read the course objectives and the major and minor topics, which are on page 1 and page 2. These pretty much follow the chapters of the book. As far as the learning outcomes, just some things we're looking at as far as the organization and the study of organizational behavior. What's appropriate to that study? What kinds of things do we need to look at? What affects the organization in both a positive and negative manner? And those are the things that we'll be looking at as we go through the chapters. As far as methods of instruction, there will be lecture in which I will have recorded PowerPoints. There's a PowerPoint for each chapter that will be posted with my recorded lecture on it. There will also be a module introduction that will be recorded, kind of like this one. This is the course introduction. There will be readings that will be posted, and there's no assignment there as far as points, but it's to direct you what you need to read on a weekly basis. There's the discussion board, which will review the match games, which you're really going to enjoy. Students really like those. It's a great way to study for the exams. There's also a research paper that's due at the end of the course and a PowerPoint presentation. And what you're doing with that is taking your the gist of the paper, putting it in a PowerPoint. There's 5 slides. I've created a template, and then recording as if you are presenting to the class. And I know we're online, but this is to help you practice your presentation skills. As far as the textbook, it's Robbins and Judge, Organizational Behavior. The details of that edition are on the syllabus. As far as Canvas, to get started to see what is where, click on the modules link, because that's going to take you to all the modules that are listed there. You will see the ones that are published. You will not see the ones that are not published. So if you don't see the whole course, don't panic. It's because I'm publishing each module on a weekly basis. The APA module will be available from the beginning of the course till the end. And that's where I've got rubrics for assignments and those kinds of things. So you kind of get an idea of what's available as far as APA to help you get better familiar with it and to understand how you need to use it in your research paper and in your discussion board responses. We've got match games, and I'll talk about those. You upload them to Canvas. First, you download it to your computer. You fill in the letters for the term and the definition to match the two together. You then upload it to Canvas. You turn it in. I'm not going to correct it. What I am going to do is give you the points for it, and then I'm going to give you the answer key, and then it's up to you to determine what you did right or wrong. So I'm really into empowering you as a student to do what you need to do. I'm not your babysitter, I'm your instructor. So I really want you to take responsibility and learn these things on your own. I was correcting the match games. It took too long and it was too tedious. So if you have the answer key, you can certainly compare and correct your own document. It's a lot faster, a lot easier, and it helps you to study for the exams. There's no extra credit for the class. There is a research paper that's due, like I said, at the end of the semester. And really what you're doing is identifying and describing a problem in an organization. And there's different areas that you need to include in the paper. And I'll have a separate recording on the paper. But basically you're identifying the problem. You're talking about and discussing why you selected it, giving 3 reasons for it, discussing the effects of the problem on 5 areas of the organization, and these are morale, productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, and goal attainment. These are all in the rubric that is in the APA module. You need at least 5 references in addition to the text. 5 plus 1 is 6. No, I'm not being silly. I've had students upload a paper with 4 references. You will lose points. So please make sure you use the text and 5 other references. 7 to 10 pages, follow APA format. Again, this is why I've got you working on this with a module that has APA documents and with postings to discussion board to get your practice in using and posting reference materials and then in-text citations. If you turn to page 4, I just want to give you the gist of what we're doing here. Think about your paper as the identification of a problem and not a company with a problem. So students have turned in papers that have said, I'm writing about Walmart and their issues with low pay scales. That's not the paper. What you're discussing possibly as a problem is pay equity. Okay, so inequality in pay, but then Walmart is your example or one of your examples. You see the difference? You're focusing on the problem, not on the company that has the problem. So my point is, discuss the problem and its overall scope of how it affects the organization as a whole and not how it affected Walmart per se. Okay, and we'll go through those kinds of things as we talk more about the paper. Discussion board, you have to put 2 posts every week. You're posting an answer to the question, and you're also posting a response to one of your peers. So that is something, again, it has to be of substance, not I agree or disagree or good job. No, you will not get points for that. That is not considered a post. It has to be substantive. You have to contribute to the conversation. You have to list your reference at the end of your discussion, but you also have to post your in-text citation as you're writing through your initial response. If you're responding to your peer, the second post, you don't have to necessarily put a reference unless you say, I disagree. I don't believe that that's the case. Okay, then, now you've got to put a reference and you have to show the class and show her why you disagree and put something to substantiate your opinion. So I'm really giving you the ability to practice research, documentation, supporting your theory, working through an issue, and writing about it, discussing it, so that when you do your paper, it's pretty much second nature. It'll be a lot easier for you. There's 3 exams. There's exam 1, exam 2, and a final exam. You'll see the chapters and the dates on page 4 of the syllabus. You have 1 chance to take the exam. It's 2.5 hours, and it can be given in respondus. If this was a face-to-face class, you'd be taking it in the class. But if it's online, you'd be taking it in respondus. And you'll have 1 page of notes that you can use. And this is for any notes that you've taken in the class, 2-sided, 8.5 by 11. You can use that. And if you're in respondus, that's all that you need to have. If you're taking the exam in respondus, you also have to use respondus monitor. You have to show the ID, you have to show your face throughout the exam. And you have to do a 360 to show your environment around you that shows you don't have the book. Of course, if you're face-to-face, we're doing the exam in class. So I'm using this intro for both online and face-to-face classes. Depending on what you have with me, just take that for what it's worth and utilize that information, okay? All right, if you don't show your face throughout the exam, by the way, you will get a 0. So you'll have to retake it, and I may let you do that and I may not. It just depends. The other thing, too, is Canvas is pretty good about letting you go back in if it bombs out while you're trying to take it. Please don't take it at 11 o'clock the night before it's due if it's online. Please do it earlier so that if there are issues, you can do something about it. Okay, your responsibilities as a student, I just want you to be engaged in the class. I'm not taking formal attendance. But at the end of the semester, if you don't pass the class and then you tell me, oh, well, I didn't realize that was the case, I'm going to ask you, did you listen to my weekly recordings? Did you review the PowerPoints? Did you read the chapters? Did you post to the discussion board? You need to follow along with everything that's required in the course and do what's expected of you. That's your responsibility as a student. So if you don't pass at the end of the class, don't tell me, oh, well, I didn't have time to, I was supposed to listen to those recordings. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. Yeah, you do realize. I'm telling you right now. Consider this your realization. Anything that is on this course, you are required to read it, review it, study it, know it, practice it. Okay? So that's your responsibility as a student. My responsibility as an instructor is to give you feedback, is to help grade what you submit, is to help you to pass the course. And I'm not trying to, it's not about the grade. Students get hung up on the grade. It's about learning. I want you to be able to take what we cover and utilize it when you go back to work, when you're done with the class, when you get that manager and you say, oh yeah, I remember talking about that. Dr. Mehdi mentioned that in our class. That's my goal. If you can apply what we've learned, then I have succeeded. So you succeed when you get a good grade. I succeed when you can apply the concepts that we discuss into your own personal situations. And that's down the road up the street. I hear from students, they use it right now, depending on what we talk about. They say, oh my goodness, you can't believe how much you helped me at work. You were talking about such and such, and I was able to use it. So that makes me feel good, just so you know. Okay, the grading scale is here, along with the weighing of the assignments. They're all equally weighed. I don't weigh anything differently. You've got the course schedule that you'll see here, so we'll flip through that. You can read that. And then just the general policies. These have just been updated by the university, so you'll see a section on religious holidays, student disability services. There's a section on counseling and psychological services, or CAPS. There's academic dishonesty, plagiarism, and cheating section. Please read that through. This is why the in-text citations are so important in your research paper, and listing your references. By the way, with APA, and I am going to check this, if you list a reference on your APA paper, you better have something about that reference, or that pertains to that reference in your paper. If you don't, the reference is not counted, and APA says, you've got to include that reference in the paper. So back in the day, for you MLA folks, because I know I grew up with MLA, they had this thing called bibliography, or works cited. That is not what it's called anymore. It's called references. And anything you list as a reference has to be referenced in the paper, has to be cited in the paper. So in the past, you could list 30 references and say, oh boy, look how smart I am. I looked at all these different references. And the teacher would say, hey, good job. You did a lot of research. Well, APA doesn't look at it that way. It says, if you list it as a reference, you use it in the paper. So remember that when you're submitting your final papers. As far as course drops and withdrawals, please review that. This is on page 9 of the syllabus. It's very important because I believe it has been changed. This is a new policy that's just been implemented in the summer, so it will affect you this fall. That in general is the overview of the syllabus, other than student services, class recordings, and for online courses, obviously, if there's a bad weather day, snow day or whatever, no, I'm not canceling class because you're all home in your jammies and it's real easy to get online. If you can't meet a deadline for an assignment, that's something totally different, and we'll look into that when we get to it. But again, this will happen because you wait till the last minute to submit the assignment. So please don't think you're going to get a free ride and have the ability to do it again if you have any technical issues. I will be able to check when you try to upload, and I won't do anything if it's at 11:58, okay? Because assignments are due at 11:59. So this is for online courses. If this is a face-to-face course, and again, I'm creating this for both. The class recordings, if you want to record the class, you have to come to me and ask my permission before you can utilize a recorder in the class to record my lectures. Okay, and that's just for the protection of me and the students, because there may be confidential information that students are sharing in that face-to-face course. and I don't want that to be able to get out, and the university doesn't either. So this should give you a good overview of the course. Please let me know if you have any questions. This is the introduction to the whole course. I'll be recording an intro to week 1 and posting it in that folder. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the class, and we're going to have fun and learn a lot together, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.